All right, welcome to another episode of Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lebanon Acres, Ben from Holler Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land, in episode 105 of this podcast.
We made it past 2 years.
Yes, we made it. Let's do another year.
Mm.
So, is it just as hot as at your place, Al?
It read 100 degrees in my pickup truck when we were getting done doing evening chores.
Wow,
And I think yesterday was in the 70s.
That's quite a that's
dang.
that's bipolar weather up there.
Yes. We're supposed to have it for 2 days in the 90s. You guys,
About the same.
about the same.
Yeah, mid 90s, I think. We got, what was it, Ben? 50% humidity?
Mine was saying like 43% humidity. So it's not crazy, but
Yeah,
again, it's not comfortable once you're up, past 90.
sunny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blistering sun.
Yep.
My neck can attest to the intensity of the sunlight today.
My face is showing it.
Yeah, you look a little burned.
Oh,
Got
that
some nice
hand.
color there.
Matches my shirt and my
There you
hat.
go.
I blend in.
Yeah, man, it feels like a sauna out there.
Yep.
That's a good way to describe it. Feels like
Like,
a
yeah,
nasty, hot, steamy sauna.
like go through three shirts plus two showers.
Yep.
Well, cool. So first of all, I just want to say we reached 14,000 subscribers on this podcast YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Wow.
As of right now, it's right at 14,000. So like it could be a little bit less by the time this happens. It might fluctuate up and down.
Yep.
Uh, so I thought that was pretty cool. So who wants to go first? We did the most exciting thing.
Uh, I did zero exciting things this week. How about you, Al? Did you do anything exciting?
We did a lot of haying. I won't talk about that. I mean, we can a little bit, but we ended up getting the hay picked up, put away. We got up, I think it was around 85 bales. So we left, trying to think, we left some out in the field because as we were putting them away, we were checking them to make sure they weren't, a little bit too, the moisture wasn't too high. Some I was fighting the stringer for. Only half of them the bales got strung. So those I'll just bring right home and feed out. So I left them out in the field. And then there was probably a trailer load, which in a trailer, we've been hauling 7 round bales that I left out. So I think it was, yeah, probably right around like 85 bales that we got on off the first batch.
Oh,
So,
That's
wow.
nice.
yep, more than enough for the year. So we still have lots more, lots more to do. So,
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing that just you don't have to buy hay then.
right, this year we don't got to buy any hay. I'll have to buy some more cows to feed,
Yeah, I guess that's a good
That's the right
problem.
attitude.
right? We got to figure out because it's like I know I don't need all this hay right away, but I got to figure out how much hay we can make so I can figure out how many cows we can get, right? Like we got to have like the correct math
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
it's always a math problem involved.
it is. So there's a few things what we didn't share on video this week that I'll talk about on the podcast just because I've been busy haying. I've been out probably like trying to think the night I put the hay up, I was out till 10 o'clock putting the hay up because it's like, oh, we're not getting rain, we're not getting rain. And then it's like, oh no, we're getting a huge like half inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch of rain tomorrow. So it's like hurry up and get as much done as you can. So it's just been like random things we haven't made on video. So we picked up our steer from the butcher shop. We got him back. It was 635 pounds of meat that we got back. We've had some hamburgers so far. That was good. And then we've had some steaks. Our butcher, I feel like labels stuff different. So like I don't exactly know what cut this is, but they're just called rib steaks. So I don't
Rib
know
steaks.
like rib steaks. Like so like
Right.
prime rib, but there's like a bunch of like there's a lot that you can call rib steaks. Like I think there's the
Yeah.
T-bone in there. There's like it's not labeled very well. So it's like okay, but they were delicious. They were marbled and they were just amazing. So he was Azalea's calf. So he was nursing or calf sharing until I think he was like a year and a half old. I don't know if she weaned him or if he weaned himself because he was the same size as her. He was about a year and a half old when he stopped nursing. And then other than that, it's just been hay, grass, and at night we give him like 1 cup of grain to kind of get him in the stall. So he really wasn't grain, just more of a treat. And it was super marbled meat, nice and tender. very flavorful. It reminds me of what a steak is supposed to taste like.
How old
That's
was he?
right.
He was just, I think he was tw 25 or 26 months.
About the same age our steer was when we did him.
Yeah. He was a
Yeah.
full Jersey and it was delicious. It's delicious.
Yeah,
Yep.
I bet.
So,
You get a lot of fat off him?
not really. I mean, the meat's marbled good,
Yeah.
but like we didn't get a bunch back from the butcher.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they threw a lot of it away or how meticulous they were, but we got, some of the lard back and or not lard, but tallow stuff that we need to render down, but it wasn't a ton.
That's awesome, man.
So we got that back. And then just tonight, while we're starting this podcast a little late, I was out haying, and then Gina called me and she's like, Black Beauty's not doing good. So we have shade that the cows can go into. Well, it's 90, it was 94 is what they were calling. The truck said 100. She was lying out in the sun all day.
Mm.
Like she never went to the shade. So she was like overheating, her tongue was hanging out and she was panting. And so we just threw probably like 10 gallons of like ice cold spring water on her and that brought her back. But for a little while, we're like, is she gonna make it? But I'm like, it's kind of like, why are you sitting in the sun? You're black. There's
Yeah.
shade. Why are you? And we've never
Right.
had the issue. So I don't know if it's just because we went from being 70 to 90 something today
Mm.
or what, but
Confused?
she's pregnant too. So I don't know if like her hormones,
Oh,
if
Mm.
that would mess them up. But so that's what we were dealing with. And we're like, okay, we might as well move their pasture while we're trying to do everything else. So we got her feeling better, and then we moved their pasture around, and everybody's nice and hot and sweaty because it went from 80 to 90.
so she seemed fine?
She seems fine now. Yep.
Mm.
Luckily, we
How,
have this cold
how'd
spring
you,
water.
how did you get water to her?
So we have water out in the pasture with our hydrant. So I just filled up
Oh,
like 3-gallon feed buckets and just kept dumping them on her.
yeah.
Yep. So if you ever have an animal that's not doing well, just dump the water to them. She didn't like it at first, but after a while, she was like, "Oh wait, I think this feels good," because she just stood there. Mm.
That's weird. Yeah. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And we've never, when we had the cows last year, we didn't have any issues. I don't know if it's just the big swing or, but when I got there, they were had already dumped water on her and stuff, and they were out getting something else, some other water container, I think. And when I show up, there's one cow standing in the shade, and then there's her lying in the direct sun. I'm like, why are you not in the shade? So I think we got one more day of it, and then we go back to the 80s, and then we'll probably be back in the 60s.
Yeah, because
And
that's pretty rare for your part of the world, right?
well, we usually get it, but it's not till like August, and we'll have like a week or two of super hot weather. But like you get like not I want to say acclimated to 100%, but like you've already been hot and sunny, and we've just been so cold and raw this year. I think the highest we've had is probably like one or two 80-degree days. Before that, it's been like 70s, 60s. It's been like 48 in the morning lately. Nice cold
Right.
and chilly this morning. It's probably upper 50s, mid 50s for
That's
morning time.
nice.
Yeah. That's one of the things we love about up here is it usually cools off at night. There's usually 2 weeks in the summer that it doesn't cool off really nice. But other than that, it's usually, I think tonight's going to get down in the 60s. So that'll be nice. Wake up nice and cool, and then it'll get hot again.
Yeah, because I think up here is like 70s at night.
That's your low.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's how it was where I grew up in Mass. Like it'd be, these temperatures like super humidity. And then you'd wake up in the morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning, it'd be like 80 degrees out and humid still. It's like I just want like a little bit of a reprieve from it. Like I hate it when it's just hot and humid all year round or all
Yeah.
day long, all night long, and no cooling off.
I mean, you still don't have air conditioning, right?
We don't.
Yeah.
We got window units. We don't have
Oh, right.
mini splits. We need to get some sometime for
They're not
sure.
hard to install. Like they're really not.
You know,
But hey, like how often do you need the air conditioning anyways? Like you were just saying, what, a week, 2 weeks out of the year?
yeah, for the most part. I mean, it'd be nice to have it some other times when the house is stuffy and stuff during the day, but we wouldn't need it at night. And then it'd be nice for supplemental heat in the fall instead of having to run. The one thing we have the radiant heat, which is nice, but in like the in between stages, it'll go like say if it's cool in the morning or cool at night. If you run the heat, it takes a while to heat the floor up, so then it'll be like super hot inside during the day. So for a mini split would be nice just for that too. So we got the steer back just in time for grilling season,
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
right? I'm curious to see how long it's actually going to last though.
Depends if you go on carnivore or not.
We eat some kind of meat every night, it seems like,
Yeah.
whether it's chicken, pork, or beef. We've been having burgers for lunch, so that we'll probably go to that pretty quick. I will
Yeah.
say the burger is nice and tender.
Did you mix in like the liver with it at
No,
all? Do
we
that
got
kind of
those
thing?
all, we got everything separate.
Okay.
So Olivia went on a missions trip a couple of years ago now, and they went to New Mexico, and they had cow stomach, which she didn't love it, but she said it was fine. And then she had tongue, and she loves tongue, so we made sure we got the tongue back. So we did a quarter of a cow this winter, and we got the tongue from that one too. So we'll have to make some.
Yeah.
Was it like good in tacos, I think? Is that what
Oh
people use it
yeah.
for?
Oh, yeah.
Lingua.
Lingua.
Yeah, the cow stomach's called tripas.
Hmm.
Jason, do you like
Hmm.
tripas?
It's like menudo, right?
Yeah. I don't like tripas.
Is
It's
it chewy or what's it?
yeah, it's kind of rubbery. It's
Like
got a weird
fat.
texture.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
Kind
chewing
of
on fat.
like chewing on a squid.
Maybe a little bit.
probably.
What is that? Is that calamari?
Yeah. Calamari's great fried. I don't
So,
recommend it's bait otherwise.
so
Right.
did she like it when she went to New Mexico? Did she like the stomach?
She said it was okay.
No, okay.
She wasn't like, hey, save. She didn't wasn't like save the stomach, but she was like,
Yeah.
make sure you get the tongue. We need the tongue. So
Now, it would be neat though to like a, a steer or beef that you raised to save the stomach to see if it's any different like eating
right.
it and prepare it and eat it like if that's something that I remember because I
I wonder
grew
if
up
the
eating that, but like I wonder if it's better. You know what I mean? Like the
yeah,
texture's better.
Oh, I guarantee it is.
I haven't
Every other
had
kind of meat that you have that you raise is 10 times better than what you've ever had from the store.
Yeah.
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 I bet you all of a sudden you start looking at that animal different and be like, I'm even eating the stomach too.
It'd be interesting to try it.
Yeah.
I know it's a
I know
lot of work, but
our butcher didn't even ask. Like that wasn't on the cut list.
no.
Stomach.
That's because he's like, I am not cleaning out a stomach. You
Yeah.
want it, you come get it.
I was surprised we got the liver back because with grass fed, when you go to a USDA inspected facility, you don't always get the liver back
Hmm.
Even
because livers look grass fed livers look different from grain fed livers. So sometimes the inspectors are like, oh no, they're bad because I think they got
oh,
like more of a green tinge to them. They're like,
really?
oh, it's a bad liver,
Hmm.
not really knowing that oh, it's grass fed and grass fed's different.
Wow.
The other cool thing was is the day we dropped him off. They were like, "Oh, you can get here like an hour later. Like we're doing organic before him." So I was like, "Oh, like I don't have to worry. Like after the organic went through, he went through. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. We don't have to worry about regular convention stuff." But
Oh, I
That's
see.
cool.
yep. So they must have to do like a whole different process for organic because they have a USDA inspector there on the
If they
premises.
if they even said something like that, I wonder if that means that meat isn't getting sprayed down with bleach.
Right.
That would be cool.
Yep. So
Wow.
yep. We got some dog bones back too. So Brutus can have a little treat.
That's fun.
Yep.
You didn't save like the hide or
We didn't.
anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
We've thought about it, but
Would that be an option?
it would be
Mm.
it's pot like so they'll charge you for it and they basically say there's a chance you can save it.
No. Yeah.
Thing. His was in between, so like he should have just had his summer coat by now, and most of the cows should have had their summer coats. But a lot of our cows are still shitting out their winter coats right now because it's been so cold and raw. I think that's
Oh,
another
right.
reason why like that cow probably got hut today, but
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy that here we are. Well, by the time this podcast goes out, will it be July? Or just about, no, not yet. It'll be
Almost.
almost.
When's summer?
I mean, they still, some of them still have half their winter coats on,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
I mean, it's not officially summer yet, right?
It was the 20th.
Oh,
Yeah, it
was
was the
it?
other day.
Oh man,
Yep.
forget that. Yeah.
Was it last Friday?
Yeah, it was Friday.
Saturday?
Okay.
Yep. So I'm not liking this weather, the temperature wise for heat, but I'm liking it for hay. So far, we're supposed to have some nice weather, got some more grass down. So I'm pretty pumped for it for that reason. So that's why my face is red right now.
Yeah. So you're getting the hang of it.
I'm getting the hang of it. I'm having fun. I don't know. I can definitely see it being addicting, but I don't know why. I think it's because like you're racing the weather and it's always, I don't know, you're trying to get it in and you're always watching the weather and at the same time like, hey, this is feeding my animals. If I can get this in undercover, we're good for the winter.
You see yourself always liking doing that?
I don't know if I'll always. I hope
I mean,
so.
you know what I mean?
But
Like it's like mowing the lawn. Like for me, it's like mowing the lawn. It's like I don't want to go out there and mow the lawn.
you're mowing when you're mowing the lawn, it's different. You're mowing the lawn for looks. You're not mowing it for feed or like because even if like I'm like okay, even if this gets ruined because it gets rained on too much, like I'll have mulch for bedding.
Hmm.
Like there's always
Yeah,
something we can use it for. But
right.
It's different. It's you're harvesting something rather than just
Yeah,
maintenance.
yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Been watching the birds fly. The crows have been out after I mow. I didn't get it on video because my like when you got your camera up and it's off, or you're trying to change the angle, and you're riding in a tractor and it's bumpy, and you're trying to pay attention. Well, a crow came down, and then next thing I'm like, what's it got in its mouth? It had a frog in its mouth,
Oh wow.
and it flew off of the frog. Well, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I've been listening to lots of podcasts. I found a new good one called The Ample Flame. You guys need
Oh.
you guys need some more. You need some more. I listened to them all the first day mowing.
You
That's
listen to them
4 hours of content.
Hey, I wasn't even done mowing yet, and I ran out of podcasts to listen to.
Wow. I'm just a quiet little plug right there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
What have you been up to, Ben?
I guess the cat's out of the bag now. All right, so me and Meg have wanted to just have something we can get together and, you know, talk, speak freely, if you will, for a while. We've talked about it and talked about it. And so usually every time we start doing like Whole 30 and you get to that point where the brain fog lifts and you start thinking better, it's you've detoxed your brain a little bit. Usually we do something crazy, and I guess that's what we decided to do. We had talked about it for a while. Like this is something we've talked about for a long time actually, and finally it was like let's just pull the trigger, like let's do it. So bought some microphones. The equipment to get started really wasn't anything crazy. We cleaned out a corner of the barn, and we just sit down. Me and her talk for an hour. We once the girls are in bed, then we have a little bit. We make sure that the boys hang around in case the baby wakes up. But she's a year old, so she's pretty easy. We just hang out, we talk, we pick a topic. That's been something that's interesting is like picking a topic and staying on track because I am not that way. So I have to write down a lot of notes before we do an episode. And it's actually been kind of cool, like focusing in on a topic and trying to stay on topic. And it's been nice to like sit down with Meg and like just talk. It's almost like date night. So we've been doing that for 2 months now. We're doing it bi-weekly. So 2 episodes a month. We also started doing an after show with each episode, and the after show is behind a paywall, so we talk a lot freer. And it's been really cool. I guess the behind the paywall stuff, we'll talk numbers, we'll talk money, we'll talk how we really feel about some issues. So that's been pretty cool. Well, we wanted a backlog of episodes before we started talking about it, and we honestly just wanted to see what kind of traction we would get. It's very disappointing. We had zero traction whatsoever for the first month. As a content creator, like, you post and you get views and comments and stuff like that. And when you post something and it's like you check, it's been up for an hour, you check 0 views or 0 listens. It's like, oh, yikes. So
Yeah.
we kind of dealt with that for a little bit. And then I think it was a week ago, probably coming up on 2 weeks ago, Meg did just a community post on our YouTube. She shared it. We didn't make a video about it. We didn't talk about it on video. And yeah, it kind of just started snowballing. Last I had seen, we had already picked up 1,200 subscribers on the YouTube. It's just been growing. It's kind of cool. It's been well received. I think what's been weird is I have heard from people I haven't talked to in months or even years, and they're like, "Dude, I love the podcast. I didn't know you were doing a podcast." I was just like, "Yeah, here we go." Uh,
I have a regular YouTube channel too, you know.
yeah. So, yeah, that's been something we've been working on for about 2 months. It's been
Cool.
fun. I
Olivia
think,
found it. YouTube recommended it on our. She's like, "Hey, did you know Ben and they had their own podcast?" I'm like, nope.
yeah, we that's been our little. I think we're recording weekly right now. We're trying to get a backlog of episodes. That way, if we, for whatever reason, want to, I don't know, go do something fun off farm, we still have content that'll be scheduled to post. So
Yep.
that's kind of cool.
So the
But
stuff that's on behind the paywall, can you still listen to that on like the podcast app?
yes,
Yep.
it's all we run everything through Spotify, and it's got the what is it, the RSS feed. And so once you become a member, it then gives you a special thing in your podcast player,
Yep.
and all of the after show episodes will pop up in your doobly doo.
Yep. That's cool.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. There's only like one podcast that I pay for their members shows, and I always kind of wondered, it's like, well, how do you do that? Like, because the way it used to be is if you wanted member shows, you had to go to their website and sign up, and you had to listen to them on some weird, funky player, and it was just awkward. Well, now everybody's able to send out private links, and then you click the link, and then it pops up in your podcast player. You can listen to everything in one place. It's really nice, and being able to do that, it's super easy. I thought it was kind of cool, so that's been kind of cool. Technology, man.
It's come a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of saved my bacon there, Al, bringing that up because my week was kind of boring, actually. Uh, Writing down my list for what I did this week, it was just like, oh, geez. So Monday, I dug holes for posts. Uh, Tuesday, I framed up some stair platforms on those posts. Um, it was Tuesday. I actually got our truck back. Got it back from the mechanic shop. Had I talked about that on the podcast about going to
No,
Home Depot and the truck
Yep.
breaking
yeah.
down? Okay.
Not
Just
getting it back, but yeah.
yeah, so we got it back last week, and that was the most expensive Home Depot trip I think I've ever had.
What was wrong with it?
So the high pressure oil pump blew up, and that in turn messed up a whole bunch of other stuff. Um, and then, my mechanic, I was like, hey, just go over it and, you know, find everything. Oh, he did. Apparently there was the exhaust manifold was cracked.
Oof.
Um, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I should go get you the 2 pages that was the invoice. Yeah, I'll if I share how much I'm gonna get hate mail going, you need a new mechanic. That's ridiculous. So I'll save it for the after show. But yeah, that is the most I have ever paid for just a breakdown like that. It was pretty ridiculous.
Man.
Yep.
But it's good as new.
Yeah, yeah, it's good as new. But like after your vehicle breaks down, there's like a period where you get it back and you kind of look at it cross-eyed when you get in it. And you're like, are you gonna break down on me again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I know the oil pump has been going out because every once in a while I'll pull up to like a stoplight or something like that and it'll lose oil pressure. I was like, I think my oil pump's going out. And so then it finally did and messed up everything else. So, kind of a bummer, but I'm actually, like, knock on wood, I'm actually glad that it did break down and we weren't like, 8 hours away from home type of thing in a city we don't know. Spartanburg's not too far from us. It's about an hour away, so it was like whatever. Oh gosh. I hate it when I write stuff on my list of things to talk about and I'm so vague with my note. What the heck does that mean?
It doesn't remind you of
It
something.
doesn't remind me of what I did. I guess we're skipping Wednesday.
How's your pig shelter doing that you built a few
Oh
months ago?
man, it's freaking incredible.
Is it?
Uh, okay, I will say this. Sorry, the sun is like blinding me right now. So I'm gonna like lean forward over the table, sit here on my elbows.
It's fine.
Uh, so every week I grab the tractor and I get 2 scoops of wood chips and I dump them in this pig shelter. Right now there's 5 American guinea hogs in this shelter and they're just making compost. Well, I noticed they don't linger too long over the spot where they all go to the bathroom. And that's where I have to add the most wood chips just to keep the flies and the stink down. And uh, usually I'll put a scoop in either side of it, the side they eat in and sleep in, and then the side they use as the bathroom. And then every once in a while I have to get in there and just shovel a few scoops from the clean side to the bathroom side. Well, I got in there the other day, and as soon as I got in there, it was like, whoa, it's really hot over here. Like I could feel it through my boots. And so I kind of walked over there and stuck the pitchfork in the pile, and it's like steaming and hot. Well, I went and got my thermometer, and it's like holding 150 degrees, just period, all the time. And they're adding nitrogen, and I guess I'm adding the carbon. So mission accomplished. This is a compost barn. The only thing I have had to like worry about is if it gets too hot. So I learned this about compost piles. Have you ever heard of compost piles catching on fire?
Yep.
Like it's a thing that can happen. So basically, what happens is if you let the pile get too hot for too long, the pile actually kills off all of the good microbes that are breaking down all of your carbon, and the compost pile actually starts breaking down your carbon into like ethanol. So it starts releasing wood alcohol, and that's what catches on fire.
Hmm.
I mean, you got your fire triangle, you got your fuel, you
Yep.
got your, I guess, your heat from the microbes and whatever else. So yeah, that's the only thing I've been worried about. It's like, well, if it gets up to about 180, I suppose what I could do is I could just get in there and I could put the forks on the tractor and I could just like break it up, and it's called making a volcano. You make a volcano in your compost pile and it cools it down. I could just do that, but that was like an unforeseen. It was like, well, I didn't plan on it being that hot. I'm sure they'll enjoy it in the wintertime.
That's what I said. I bet you they'll love it come
Yeah.
wintertime.
Something that's been cool about it is there's not a whole lot of flies. Like I was really expecting a bunch of flies. But I think because it's getting so hot, it's
Yep.
able to keep the flies down. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just the location. So yeah, I've just been continuing on doing stairs for the deck. That's basically all I worked on last week and today, actually. That's why my forehead and neck are a little bit burned.
How many
Uh,
steps?
I got my notepad right here. It's also got my little sketch for how many steps. So there, off the center of the deck is going to be a double, and it says this is 6 feet of stairs. Oh, that's great. I didn't write down my number of steps. I think it's 9 steps or something like that.
Yep.
I would have to. I have a picture on my phone. I'm not going to pull up right now, but it's like 9 steps either way, 8 steps either way,
That's
coming
cool.
off the front of the deck, and then I'm doing one off the end of the deck towards our parking area. And that one's not as many. It's like 6 steps or something like that. But I've never cut stair stringers. Have either of you ever cut stair stringers?
It's a head scratcher trying to figure it out. And then once you get it, it's like, oh yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what I figured. Like it doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty straightforward,
It's a math
but
problem.
I'm cutting 12 individual stringers, so wish me luck.
Have you got it all mapped out yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kidding? Like when I was learning how to machine, there was no YouTube for machining. Like you had to learn the old school way,
Yep.
either get yelled at by some old dude in the shop or you had to, read books. And that was how I learned. Now there's videos everywhere learning how to machine, all that stuff. It's the same way with woodworking. You want to
Mm.
learn woodworking, there is a video for it. And so I've watched 50 different how to make stair stringer videos, and it's like, wow, this is pretty straightforward. And then there's calculators. Like you can find, you know, carpentry calculators and tell them your what is it, your rise and run, and it's like, oh, here you go, this many steps, here's your angle. It does it all for you.
Can you,
So,
what I do a lot, especially for concrete, is I just look up like concrete calculator on the website on the internet, and then I'm just like, I'm like, oh,
yep,
this is so great. And same thing for like roof pitches and stuff like that. It's
yep,
just search on old Google pants and you get your,
yep.
you'll find your calculators.
It almost takes the fun out of it, you know. Uh,
Makes you look good though.
it does make you look good, but at the same time, it's like, man, if Google goes away, like, I don't know. I still have, there's this, it's called the Machinist Bible. It's the Machinery's Handbook, and it's just a handbook that, it's like 3 inches thick of every formula, every information you could ever need in a machine shop, and it's all in this book. But you have to know how to do math. And so, like, get out the scratch paper, get out the calculator, that kind of stuff, and sit down and figure it out. Well, they have books like that for carpentry, but why would you need that when you can just get your phone out and it'll spit out the numbers for you? So I'm always kind of on the lookout for stuff like that because, what if the EMP goes off and we don't have Google, does that mean nobody knows how to build anymore?
Yep.
I don't want to be in that group of people. I like being able to do it the old school way, but at the same time,
I'm the same way. I got the books, but I use Google right now while I
yes,
can.
yes. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like exercise. Every now and then, I do like figuring something out using my brain. Uh, it feels good to flex that muscle every now and then, or at least, try to flex that muscle. Uh, but
Right.
at the end of the day, I find myself going back to Google a lot of times just because I need to get it done.
Right. And especially if you're doing it on video, you don't want to look like a fool.
That's also a hard thing doing all this content. And it's like, well, I better do it right because
Right.
I'll get told otherwise. So the only other thing was Friday was first day of summer. That's exciting. That was Brett's birthday. Longest day of the year was Brett's birthday. Something that's weird. Do either of you guys have your house built perfectly oriented north and south?
No.
Mm.
So our house is oriented long ways east to west, and I swear this sucker was built by uh, someone who really cared about a compass because in the wintertime, like the light will shine almost all the way through the house. During equinox, it shines, long ways almost through the house at sunrise and sunset. Um, and then come solstice, the window actually, or the window behind me is the north facing window, and sunrise and sunset right around summer solstice shines through the north windows. But at the winter solstice, the sun shines on this wall behind me through the south facing window. Explain that.
Hmm. It's a
And
math
it's both
problem.
it's both ways, sunrise, sunset. It's crazy. Anyways, that's all I got. Jason, how was your week?
It was good. Pretty exciting. You guys ever heard of let me see, I'm gonna get this name right. A screwworm?
Screwworm. I've heard
No.
of screwworm.
So I got this email from this is somebody that you know too, Ben, but somebody that I know that he works in like customs and he sent me a text and he's like, hey, just a heads up, you got the screwworm that might hit North Carolina in like seven weeks. And apparently he sent me a couple videos on it. I'll send it to you guys, but I guess it's coming to like, it's from Mexico coming to Texas. And I guess it's like a fly that lays eggs in like a wound and it like eats that. It can happen to humans. It can happen to animals. And I guess the animals, it can mess with them and they can't, they'll eventually just die. I guess it's like a huge problem. And apparently they eradicated it like in the 60s. I guess it was big in the 60s, but somehow they got rid of it in the United States. But then I guess it's coming back.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting. He sent me this long text, and I was just reading it. Like, sent me a couple they were like old, like 60s videos, like one of those, you see in schools, like the screwworm is da 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 da, like kind of those videos.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting. I don't know, something to look up. It was like it looked interesting and terrifying at the same time.
New
Because
World screw worms. That's what they're calling them.
yeah, and
Let's
it
look it
could
up.
like if you have I guess they only like if you have an open wound, like if your animal, pig or cow or anything has an open wound, it could lay its eggs in that wound, and I guess that's the problem. If you
Hmm.
don't have no wounds, then they can't do that.
Hmm.
But I guess it could happen to like us. If
It's kind of like bot flies.
yeah.
Bot flies will land on you and lay eggs in you, and then
Hmm.
wake up in the middle of the night hearing worms eating your head.
Yeah. It's wild. I was like, man, I was
So they're
like,
coming to Texas and then to North
well,
Carolina.
they said it
Make-
could make their way to North Carolina. Like it's not unheard of, I guess.
Hmm.
So, and I think he had a meeting with like USDA about it.
Hmm.
I think you could
The
look it up. He sent me a link.
USDA has a post about it.
Yeah, like recently.
Yeah, and the press release from Secretary
Yep.
Rawlins.
Yep.
Yep. And this was on June 18th, the one that I'm looking at.
Yep.
That
They
was
spent
last week.
Yeah.
they spent 8.5 million for something, and then they've been working with Mexico. I think I saw we've been spent like $21 million with them trying to eradicate them down there.
Yeah. He goes, I hope it doesn't come your way, but it looks like it's coming. I don't know if it's already in Texas or if it's coming to Texas, but so yeah, I guess he was
Hmm.
just giving me a heads up.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't sound like
that
fun.
was like a
No, it
nightmare.
doesn't sound like fun.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Hey,
It might, yeah.
it might move up to North Carolina and just feel at home here. We got every other freakish
Yeah.
bug that lives here.
Yeah. Sounds scary as heck. I was like, oh geez. But I don't know. So there was that. And then I got that text. Uh so we got turkeys this week. Um I ordered 30, I got 35, and
35. Wow.
yeah, they sent me five extra, which is cool. And they all survived. I got them on, when was it? Wednesday. I got, I got the email Tuesday night, got them on Wednesday afternoon. And then on Friday, so last year I had a really good success with turkeys. I had like lost, I think we lost two maybe out of 20. Um, Previous couple years, I've always lost half. So that's why last year I bought 20, thinking I was going to lose half anyways, but then they all mostly survived. You know how that goes. Um, so this year I was like, okay, so I ordered 30, and then we sold out of turkeys last year. I started selling them. Um, so I was like, I'm gonna raise them exact same way I did last year. And so that was my plan. So we got them on Wednesday, and on Friday, like we almost lost half of them already.
Jeez.
Friday evening, I walked in there and like they were just like, I don't know, 10 of them all laid out, like just spread out on their backs. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're dead. And so I opened up the brooder and I grabbed one. They didn't look like, they've been dead for a while. They still looked fresh. That's what I say. Um, and then I grabbed one and it was alive still. Like it was almost like all of them were. They looked dead, like laid out, like with their legs all spread out, like they were dead, and they were on their backs. So I grabbed one, and the eyes opened up. I propped it back up like on its feet, and it just like fell back. It was like they were all drunk. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, I didn't know what was going on. And all of them were like that. Not all of them, but the ones that were flipped over like that. And I just propped them all up. I gave them water. I was like, no, maybe they're not seeing the water, like I don't know. I even had I've been giving them minerals like in their feed, like extra minerals. Like same thing I did last year. I put some more minerals in their water after that because I was like, oh, maybe they just need a little bit something, I don't know. So I gave them all water, and um, a few of them there seemed like okay, they seemed like better. Um, but then the other ones, they were just like, as soon as they got on their 2 feet, they would just like prop their head all the way back and then eventually just fall back and then they just can't get up.
They had vertigo.
I don't know. I mean, I looked up Google and they said it could be like neurological disorder, something. I don't know. I thought maybe like it got too hot for him because I had a heat lamp on him. But then, I've always read that turkeys need to be even hotter than chicks. So I don't know what to do. I gave them water. I mean, they had everything, but they just kept on flipping over. And then the next day, they were gone. They were gone. So right now I think we have 14. And I'm like, man, I was so frustrated. Um,
Uh, that is frustrating.
I was just like, a part of me was like, "Oh, well, what are you gonna do?" Like, I don't know what to do. It was just, they just, I just let it happen, and I feel like I can't do anything. And then I'm thinking like, well, there's still time. I could order more turkeys. But then a part of me is like, I don't know. I don't even feel like it. I'm kind of discouraged about it, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know what we're gonna do. We might just leave it and just try to keep these ones that we have going. These guys seem fine so far, but those other guys seem fine too. And all of a sudden, just they were just acting like they were like, yeah, like they were drunk or like dizzy or something. I don't know.
What is it Joel Salatin says? Turkeys are the best at figuring out creative ways to die.
Yeah. I mean, even the ones that we lost previous years didn't act like this. The other ones were just like normal, like they just died. But these guys just couldn't. They seem alert, they seem awake, but they just couldn't get up.
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, I'm frustrated with that. I'm still on debating if we should get more or not. I'm kind of like leaning towards not. So what else? Something funny happened. Kind of funny, I think. So you guys have, I'm sure you guys seen them. I don't know if you have this over where you're at, Al, but guys that just go door to door selling meat.
Nope.
No, you've seen that, Ben.
Not here per se, but back
Right.
in California, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
thing.
It was a thing just like random, like you'd be in a parking lot, like going to Target or something, and someone will pull up and be like, "Hey, you want to buy some meat?" Like in a van. And so I think the closest I've seen that happening over here is I've seen people post up at a parking lot before over here, like one time I seen a big box, like big rig, pull up at a parking lot with a easy up and a table and a big old sign that says steaks for sale. I've seen that. But not somebody going door to door. So I forget what day it was this week, but a van pulled up. It said like seafood and meat. And he pulls up to the driveway. And I don't think we were all inside, and I think I was editing a video, or I didn't even notice. And he like kind of like got out of his car and kind of waved at the window, like, "Hey," And so I mean, like, someone's here. And so I walked out. I was like, "This guy's selling this guy." I was like, "You came to the wrong house." And he didn't even get out of his car. He was like in a brand new, I guess it's like a one of those vans, not like a old van. It was like a brand new van. And you could tell it was refrigerated, and it was like a smaller van, but it was like brand new, and it said meat and seafood. And he just started talking like, "Hey, mind if I give you this flyer? Let me know if you need any meat." And I'm like, man, we don't need any meat, And I just started asking him questions like, "Where's this meat coming from?" So he's like, "It comes from Illinois." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, and then he just started talking about it, which he was a nice guy, I guess. And I guess it's the same like meat that say Outback Steakhouse or Applebee's gets. Those like, big commercial restaurants. I guess they all get it from this place, or mostly get it from this place, somewhere in Illinois. And I guess he buys it wholesale, and then he goes door to door and tries to sell it.
Hmm.
And
Everybody, everybody's got to hustle.
Yeah, and it said on there since like 1992, and he said he's been doing it for that long.
Wow.
Um,
So it's his own company.
I don't know if it's his. It sounded like it was his, but I don't know. I didn't ask if it was his. And then I had my Soda Land hat on, and he was looking at my hat. He's like, so what do you do? You like, so you grow your own meat here then? And I'm like, is this your company? He started asking me questions, and I was like, yeah, we do like chicken. He's like, you sell it? And I'm like, yeah, actually, we do sell it. We did, you know, uh, we do pastured poultry. I moved chicken tractors around, started talking to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, really?" He started looking around. He's like, "So, so you want to do some business together?" And I'm like, "This guy." I was like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, if you're raising it, he's like, I've been looking for some people locally that raises meat. Like, I could go door to door for you." And I'm like, "Really?" I was like, I was kind of curious what he was about to say, and he's like, you got a website, you got an email or something, and he's like, is it Sold Land? And I was like, yeah, I got a website. Like, you can find my email on my website.
Hmm.
And so he wrote it down and everything. And I was like, how about you? You got a website? Like, cause I'm always like, who's this guy? Like, like, are you guys real? You know?
Hmm.
And he's like, well, we don't have a website. He's like, so I was like, you pretty successful doing this? Like, you just go door to door, like, just straight up knock on people's doors asking if they sell meat or asking if they want meat. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. He's like, but it'd be nice if I could work with some local farms and go door to door that way. And I'm like, okay. I was like, well, shoot me an email, I was like, maybe. I was like, I don't know if I go, I don't, I'm just doing it small, like really just for us. And I have, I'm growing some more, to sell here and there. He's like, I don't know if I have enough to supply you with a bunch of meat. And he's like, you know why? He said, he goes, you know why you don't have enough to supply me with enough meat? And I was like, why? He's like, because you just said it right now. He's like, he's like, you need to think differently. He started talking to me like this. Like, he's like, you need to think like, yeah, you know what? You can supply enough. I'm like, okay. And then he was about to leave and he goes, he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm gonna make you a millionaire. And I'm like, I swear he said that. He said that. Like right before he left, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, guy. I was like, all right,
Hmm.
I'll wait for your email then. And then he backed out and left. And I was like, how did this just, I don't know who this guy was or this company. Uh, it was just out of the blue, like kind of, it was funny, man. I don't know. It was kind of funny. And I looked them up online, uh, the name of their company, and they seem like a legit company. Um, they don't have a website or nothing, which is bizarre to me, but they do have like reviews and some kind of online presence a little bit. But it was just kind of awkward. It was just kind of bizarre.
It's one of those awkward exchanges you can only have on your front porch.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know where this guy just pulled up out of nowhere, and I'd never seen anybody do sell meat like that since we've lived here. And I was like, I thought this was mainly like a city thing, right? Like in the city they do that, but not out here. I don't know. But then it got me thinking, is like, why don't small local farms do that? How come they don't do that? I've never known for like a small local farm to like load up a fridge van and drive door to door and ask it if anyone wants to buy meat. I've never seen that.
No, I've never seen that either.
And why
I know
couldn't?
working with someone like that, like there is no way they could make money on a chicken the way you raise chicken.
Mhm.
Like the wholesale price on that bird is going to be so expensive compared to what they can resell it for.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
I don't think he's grasping what an organic chicken costs to raise.
right. And I didn't as I was explaining him, it kind of looked like he didn't know what that was, like what was pasture raised or what's a chicken tractor, you know. It didn't sound like he knew really what that was.
Hmm.
Um, so and I even looked at the company that he told me the company that he buys the meat from. And sure enough, they're like it's like a processor, like a butcher, like a huge processor plant.
Like a Case Farms or a Tyson type thing. Maybe not on that scale.
Yeah, yeah, like just huge that they just process all this meat and then you can just buy probably pallets from them
Hmm.
wholesale and then just sell it however you want to sell it, which is wild. So I don't know. Maybe he'll make me a millionaire. I don't know. What do I know?
Or give you a Faustian bargain.
I know.
Jason, I need 100,000 chickens this year.
First, you got to give me yeah, $10,000. Yeah, we'll see. Haven't heard from him yet. So I thought that was kind of funny. So what else? Being that it's like 95 degrees, I decided to put up a gate. Um, I've got this entryway, this last gate, very last gate I need to install. Um, and I kept it open. This is the main area where I drive into my barn when I have to unload feed or something. And I just left it open so far, because not sure if I needed one that big. It was like a 24-foot opening. I mean, it's kind of big. I initially I was thinking like I was gonna get two 12-foot gates, but I was like probably a foot off. I was too big. That's one
Missed it.
thing. Missed it by that much. Um, that's one thing about putting in gates. You kind of have to be perfect,
Hmm.
which makes it so difficult. So I was about a foot off, so I could have bought two 14-foot gates and they would just been overlapping. But I was like, man, I don't like the way that looks. And so then I thought I'll buy two 12-foot gates. So I went and bought two 12-foot gates. And then my first thought I was gonna do was put two 12-footers in, and then in the middle have a removable post.
Yep.
And then after I already bought the 12-foot gates, went to Lowe's, bought the 12-foot gates. I kind of like dry fitted everything and seeing how it was gonna look. And then I decided not to do that. It would have been fun, I think fun to do, but I forget why I didn't want to do it. I'm not sure why I didn't want to do it. So I decided to do just either way, there was no way around digging a hole, digging a post, right? Whether it's a removable post or a permanent one. Either way, I got to dig a hole. So I decided just to put one 16-foot gate because in my mind I was thinking, well, maybe one day I'll put like one of them fancy automatic doors or automatic arms, and it would be easier to do that like if it was just one gate instead of like two that opened. I don't know. But so I had to go back to Lowe's. This was all on the same day, by the way. Uh, return those two gates, picked up a 16-footer, and then when I got back, so I bought hinges, right, for the post to put it on. And the hinges were 3/4 inch thick, which is kind of big, kind of thick. And I guess I forgot how to put hinges on or I didn't remember what I did before because I never put on a 3/4 inch hinge. Usually mine are either 1/2 inch or 5/8. So I didn't have a big enough drill bit that was 3/4 of an inch to go through, what is it, a 6-inch post.
Yep.
So I had to go back to Lowe's and pick up a long drill bit. Um, so at the end, I had to dig another post. I had to bring my um, one man auger out, and I drilled a post. I had to go buy a post, and I continued the fence, and then I put the 16-foot gate up, and I just finished that right before this podcast
In the 90-degree weather.
in the 90-degree weather. I probably lost a few pounds. And he's like, "What are you doing out there?" I was like, "I gotta do this. I gotta do a video." Um, so yeah, it looks good though. Like I'm glad I got that done. But that was the last of it. That was the last of the the fencing, other than the woods I got to do eventually, but everything else it's all
So,
buttoned up.
like you're done. So you're ready to get cows?
I'm ready.
All right.
Ready to get cows. I guess I got no excuses now.
Just need the phone call.
Yeah, I need to make the phone call to my cow dealer.
I know someone who's got some hay.
Does that same person have cows too? Yeah, it was a hot one putting that up. And it was just like one gate, but I ended up going to Lowe's like 4 times. I'm glad it's done though. Yeah, just trying to keep all the animals safe. I did put shade cloth over my meat chickens. I bought some shade cloth, and just added more shade to the broilers.
Hmm.
Because every summer I always feel like, man, these guys are gonna die. These guys are just gonna keel over in the summer, you know. So this time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put some added shade, and I think it does help. It makes it a little bit more darker in there. You know, it's just regular shade cloth. I think it helps a lot. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. Fun times.
Fun times in the heat.
Yeah, hopefully we'll start cooling up here this week, but we'll see. Either way, I know we're just getting started.
We are just getting
Right.
started. I kind of wonder if it's going to be a hot year this year, like hotter than we've seen so
Uh,
far. Like in the 6 years we've been here, the highest we've seen is 95. Like I have not seen it go over
Wow.
95. Uh, I know the greenhouse was like 106 today, but I mean, that's the greenhouse, even though the sides and doors are all open.
do you put a shade
But
cloth over that?
I didn't.
Hmm. Do you ever?
No, we
Oh,
just leave it.
yeah. We haven't done that. We don't have one, but I think we probably should. I would like to try it.
I've thought about it. Actually, that
Yeah.
reminds me, I have to go water the greenhouse.
Yeah.
I've been going to do that all day and been tied up working on the house project. Spaced it. It's because it was so hot today. I forgot about it. It baked it out.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. All right. I think we'll end it there. All right. Then, well, thank you everyone for listening and watching this podcast. We really appreciate it, and hopefully everyone has a great week.
Have a good week, everyone.
Later, everybody.